A very good morning and welcome to this special edition of First Up. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. We're currently analyzing the third and final debate that took place between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Well, it was a 90-minute debate and saw a range of issues being discussed. Among them, of course, were immigration, the Second Amendment, the Supreme Court, and also, of course, the controversy surrounding the two presidential candidates. They came in, they debated, they refused to shake hands, and they walked off. This debate, of course, many said would decide on the undecided voters. They would be able to take a decision. Which way did it swing? Well, we'll discuss that in greater detail. But here's a quick look at the highlights. Here's what both Trump and Hillary had to speak on the immigration issue. They have wide-ranging opinions on this. Possibly the biggest differences are on the issue of immigration. Here's what each of them had to say.
We have to have strong borders. We have to keep the drugs out of our country. Right now, we're getting the drugs, they're getting the cash. We need strong borders. We need absolute, we cannot give amnesty. Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall.
He has a very different view about what we should do to deal with immigrants. Now, what I am also arguing is that bringing undocumented immigrants out from the shadows, putting them into the formal economy will be good, because then employers can't exploit them and undercut Americans' wages. And Donald knows a lot about this. He used undocumented labor to build the Trump Tower.
Let's go across to Prerna Thakur-Desai, who's joining us live with her analysis really of the debate. Prerna, as far as the immigration issue is concerned, as the moderator Chris Wallace really pointed out, this is possibly the biggest bone of contention. Both Trump and Hillary have possibly the most varying of opinions when it comes to immigration. And as far as Trump is concerned, while the entire world watches with concern when he talks of building a wall, possibly the harsh reality, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the harsh reality in America is that the support that he's garnering is possibly because of his stand on immigration and the fact that he says he will not let immigrants in.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Trump has built his entire campaign on that wall, on building that wall, which, by the way, as Trump's puts it, Mexico will pay for it. There's been a huge divide on this very issue with, there are Trump supporters and there are Hillary supporters. And the point of contention between what Hillary is saying and what Trump is saying is really that, Hillary is saying that there will be immigration reforms and that will pave the way for a whole citizenship of, people who come here illegally, who have children here, instead of deporting those people. Trump, on the other hand, is saying that all those people need to be deported. Whether or not they have families here is not the concern. They came here illegally, they need to be sent out illegally. And that statement has really garnered a lot of support amongst people. And also because you have to remember that unemployment is a big issue in the US, and a lot of low-paying jobs that are really left over right now are being, as is assumed, taken over by immigrants from other nations. And there is a lot of resentment within the American people about this. So this is definitely creating a huge issue, as just, you rightly pointed out, that it's strangely, as it may sound to most of us, it is created a huge divide, and a lot of people are supporting Trump on that issue.
And Prerna, also on this particular issue of immigration, do you think Hillary was possibly on the back foot because Trump has taken such an open, strong stand? And this is something that the moderator also kept asking Hillary, what is your stand on this issue? And while she didn't elaborate in great detail, she just kept saying that we need our borders to be secure. And as far as violent immigrants are concerned, they are the only ones who will be sent back. She didn't really speak of an elaborate plan per se as far as the immigration policy is concerned.
Well, even the moderator today, Chris Wallace, pointed out that Hillary has not been extremely open about what her plan on immigration is. And rightly so. We don't, as far as Trump is concerned, we know he wants to build a wall and he wants to deport everybody. Hillary has not been that forthcoming. She said that she wants a immigration reform. What that immigration reform will really imply is not extremely clear at this point. What was very importantly brought out today, Akshita, was when Trump said that Hillary actually voted to build a wall, in 2006, and that has been confirmed by PolitiFact, which was fact-checking this debate, that in 2006 there was a Secure Fence Act, which would allow America to build a fence around of 700 miles on the 2,000-mile border with Mexico, and Hillary Clinton had supported that act. She had voted in favor of that act. So that is something that really came out, in this debate. So Hillary's stance so far is not extremely clear on what she really wants. She also supports President Obama's, initiatives when it comes to immigration. But it also needs to be said that President Obama, under this administration, has deported more people than under absolutely any other government. So it's still very unclear. Trump, where he stands. Hillary Clinton supports some kind of immigration reform, but not yet very clear, I would say, about what exactly she plans to do.
All right, so it looks like possibly Trump may have managed to overshadow Hillary during this debate on the issue of immigration because of his strong stand and the fact that he's very open on what he really wants to do when it comes to the borders of America. Another issue that the two have wide-ranging opinions on is the Second Amendment. That is, of course, gun control and the laws governing the same. We've seen Hillary taking a stand on the issue. Trump's stand, of course, has once again helped in reaching out to a lot of Americans. A lot of them have backed him on his stand as far as gun control laws are concerned. Here's what Trump and Hillary had to say on the issue.
Support the Second Amendment. I lived in Arkansas for 18 wonderful years. I represented upstate New York. I understand and respect the tradition of gun ownership. It goes back to the founding of our country. But I also believe that there can be and must be reasonable regulation. Because I support the Second Amendment doesn't mean that I want people who shouldn't have guns to be able to threaten you, kill you or members of your family.
I am a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment, and I don't know if Hillary was saying it in a sarcastic manner, but I'm very proud to have the endorsement of the NRA, and it's the earliest endorsement they've ever given to anybody who ran for president. So I'm very honored by all of that. We are going to appoint justices. This is the best way to help the Second Amendment. We are going to appoint justices that will feel very strongly about the Second Amendment, that will not do damage to the Second Amendment.
All right, Smita Sharma joining us on the phone lines now to really get in her view on this particular issue. Smita, as far as gun control is concerned, it's a very sensitive issue in America, really, especially at this time and age when we're seeing so much violence over there. We're seeing so many shootings taking place. While many have called for some sort of regulation on gun control laws, we know what Mr. Trump's opinion is on this. As far as the debate is concerned, do you think that possibly Hillary has softened her stand on the issue on the Second Amendment?
I wouldn't say so, because she's really sticking to the stand, saying that on gun control they need really sensible, in fact, restrictions, and that the gun control mechanisms can be in place even while keeping in mind the Second Amendment, which Americans do take very seriously. There have been recent reports that have pointed out that the amount of violence in college campuses have gone up in such high numbers in the last few years, and a lot of concern expressed. But there's a very, very strong, in fact, lobby amongst the Republicans as well. And of course, there are certain sections of Democrats who think that people might just be allowed to have a right to their guns. And their mind, despite perhaps being a Republican supporter, but they argue that, people from the U.S. Army or soldiers, they said growing up, they have grown up in an atmosphere where there used to be several guns in their homes, but it did not mean that essentially people went around on a rampage on the streets. So they see a lot of, in fact, factors coming in as to why things have changed, be it societal, economic, or people's grip with religion weakening. So these are the kind of arguments that those people use. But the gun control lobby is definitely a very strong lobby. Hillary, though, of course, we have seen Barack Obama come out and speak strongly on this issue, and Hillary seems to be taking forward that idea that yes, there should be people on the no-flying list. They should not get gun licenses, and that there should be a ban on assault weapons as well.
And Smita, also on this particular issue, while Hillary's taken a stand that many experts do agree with, many believe that that is really the way forward. What do you think is really the public consensus and the public opinion? Do you think Trump's view is more popularist really on this particular issue?
As I just mentioned, because here I've been in Hawaii for the last 5 weeks now, and I've been talking to a cross-section of people. Especially if you look at in terms of the nativist American, the white nativist American, a lot of them have grown up in families where they have been used to the idea of guns as children. They have accompanied their fathers when they have gone out hunting. but it's also a truth that crime rates have gone high. Today, of course, Donald Trump citing Chicago gun laws and saying that despite tough gun laws, crime and violence, in fact, in Chicago is one of the highest. So there is a certain section that, of course, does think that Trump makes more sense on this issue. But there is a sentiment, a strong sentiment, especially with the amount of gun violence that we have seen on college campuses, on school campuses, universities, that have claimed so many innocent lives of young children. This entire introspection that has been happening over the past few years as to how to go about this issue, there doesn't seem to be a clarity on or a kind of consensus on it yet.
Right, Smita, stay on with us. Also, let's get in a quick word from Prerna on this issue. Prerna, what did you really make on the debate when it came down to the Second Amendment? Each of them, of course, stood to their guns quite literally. And at this point, of course, how do you see it swinging on that particular issue? Who do you think has a more populist view? Do you think Americans do believe that there is a need for some sort of regulation of the laws currently?
Well, like Smita pointed out, Americans are extremely sensitive about the Second Amendment. Trump has repeatedly pointed out that Hillary Clinton does not support the amendment, which is absolutely incorrect because she has time and again come out and said that she is an ardent supporter of the Second Amendment. The positive thing for Trump really going for him right now is the fact that the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association, has endorsed Trump.
Yes.
Hillary does not have that endorsement. What Hillary is really saying is that you need to have some kind of regulation so that, incidents like Sandy Hook, incidents like Orlando, these kind of shootings don't happen where innocent people don't get killed. However, in a sense, really gets the noise of the issue because, like India, most of America is rural. New York is as hard blue as hard blue can really get. Which is why, as far as gun control is concerned, nobody in New York really has, any qualms about saying that you really need tougher. However, when you go to rural America, almost every single household will own a gun. It's almost cultural for them to have a gun.
Absolutely.
And anybody taking that right away from them is really impinging on their liberty. And liberty, as you know, is one of the founding principles of America.
And this is a very, very sensitive issue, definitely. Smita and Prerna, I request you to stay on with us. We're slipping into a short break now. On the other side, we get your highlights of the debate over the controversies that surrounding both Trump and Hillary. There was, of course, a heated debate on the issue of the allegations against Trump that's been raised by several women across America. All the details on the other side. Stay tuned. The controversies surrounding Donald Trump that definitely grabbed quite a few eyeballs. This was, of course, on the allegations against him made by several women after those taped conversations came to light, which he, of course, dismissed as locker room talk. Here's what Trump had to say, and Hillary retorted with this.
First of all, those stories have been largely debunked. Those people, I don't know those people. I have a feeling how they came. I believe it was her campaign that did it. Just like if you look at what came out today on the clips, where I was wondering what happened with my rally in Chicago and other rallies where we had such violence. She's the one in Obama that caused the violence. They hired people, they paid them $1,500, and they're on tape saying, be violent, cause fights, do bad things. I would say the only way, because those stories are all totally false. I have to say that.
Donald thinks belittling women makes him bigger. He goes after their dignity, their self-worth, and I don't think there is a woman anywhere who doesn't know what that feels like. So we now know what Donald thinks and what he says and how he acts toward women. That's who Donald is.
So Donald Trump essentially dismissing the allegations against him, saying that these are, in his words, fiction and lies. And he's gone on to even point fingers at Hillary, saying that possibly she's the one behind this malicious campaign against him. Now, possibly a highlight of that debate, that chunk when they discussed the allegations, is when Trump went on to say that he respects women. And listen in to what the audience did soon after.
Mr. Trump.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody. Nobody has more respect.
Please, everybody.
And frankly, those stories have been largely debunked. And I really want to just talk about something slightly different. She mentions this, which is all fiction, all fictionalized, probably or possibly started by her and her very sleazy campaign.
Well, Trump conveniently ignored that soon after he said that he did respect women. There was a white chuckle that went around in the audience, and that's possibly how America feels about this entire issue. All said and done, the third and final debate has been wrapped up. It was a heated 90-minute discussion between Trump and Hillary. We'll have to wait and watch for the results and see if the undecided voters have chosen Hillary or Trump, because they're going to make a world of difference, not just for America, but the entire world. We're going to have to slip into a short break. It's a wrap on this edition of The Bulletin. On the other side is 9 a.m. Live with Devina Gupta. Stay tuned.